Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back. I am Jacob of the Russell Dude YouTube channel, and here today I have something that you would think is very outside my wheelhouse, but I kind of felt like doing this just because of how much I like this movie. I am doing a little casual review and my thoughts and opinions on the movie Willy's Wonderland, which follows the basic premise of our character Nick Cage, the janitor, who spends a night working at a, I guess, haunted, what would it be, like a kid's restaurant with these killer animatronics. Where have I heard that premise before? I can't think of anything. But no, seriously, this is basically what I would call a very high-budget Five Nights at Freddy's fan film, and it was a very good one at that. Even the director has said that, like, Five Nights at Freddy's wasn't an influence for this, but I mean, come on. Willy's Wonderland, Five Nights at Freddy's. I mean, there's also Chuck E. Cheese that he could have gotten inspiration from, so I don't know what it is with these freaking, like, kids' amusement restaurants and their alliteration titles. But, yeah, before we get into the full review, let me know in the comment section below if you've seen this film and what you thought of it, and leave a thumbs up on the video. I'm going to get into what I didn't like first, and then I'm going to talk about what I did like, because the stuff that I didn't like is very small, very minimal. We're just going to talk about it real quick, and then we'll get on to all the stuff that I really did like and kind of give you a rundown of what some of the stuff happened in the film and my thoughts on what happened in the film. So stuff I didn't like. Some of the CGI didn't look very well polished, but given the budget for this, what was it, like $5 million? $5 million this film was made for. Understandable at times, especially, it's very noticeable in some of the animatronic battles, especially the first one with the ostrich, kind of like how his neck moves when he's, like, attacking Nick Cage. I didn't really care, just because, like, I mean, in those instances, like, the animatronics, I feel like, are supposed to move, like, unrealistic. I mean, they even do in the Five Nights at Freddy's games, if you've ever seen that clip of, like, what is it, Foxy, like, running down the hallway, like, he looks like he has to use the bathroom before he shits his pants. Like, yeah, that movement looks very unnatural. Like, I get why Ozzy's, what's his name? Ozzy the Ostrich? Why his neck would move like that, because he's an alive animatronic. Sure, his body's gonna do some weird stuff. But yeah, the CGI looks a little weird at times. And other than that, the only other thing that I didn't really like was most of the teenage characters, which are led by Liv Hawthorne, played by Emily Tosta. Yeah, most of them, I would say, were either in this film to pad out the body count or give us exposition, which Lev does most of the exposition, and most of the other characters end up being on the body count. You know, they were whatever. They were kind of the surrogates, like I said, giving us exposition on what's going on, for the people in the audience that couldn't put two and two together. But yeah, they were just kind of whatever. They did their job. They did what they needed to. They got in the film. They did what they needed to do, and then they quickly got out. But let's talk about what I did like, and some of the moments in the film that I very much liked, starting with Nick Cage, boy. You know, I've heard a lot of people complain about Nick Cage not talking in this film, and it is true. He does not say a single line of verbal dialogue. He grunts and stuff like that, and he, like, gulps and things like that, but he does not say a single word. And there were moments in this film where I thought he was going to say a single word. Even, like, at the very end, I thought he was going to say something, but he never does. And the movie opens with him driving this cool car, and he gets caught on, like, a road strip of, like, spikes, and then all of a sudden he's, like, standing on the side of the road drinking, like, a purple grape soda until someone comes to pick him up, and he takes him to get his car fixed, says it's going to cost a lot of money. Nick Cage doesn't have cash. The guy says, hey, you can work it off if you work at this place, Willy's Wonderland, for the night. If you clean it up and I come back the next day, I'll have your car fixed free of charge. And Nick Cage silently agrees, just like with a single nod of the head, And the bulk of the movie is just Nick Cage going around and cleaning up Willy's Wonderland, and like he has the fight with Ozzy the ostrich, and he doesn't even really it doesn't even really faze him. None of these fights really do, or anything that's really going on in this movie phases him. He just continues on his work of cleaning up Willy's Wonderland. And he even cleans up the bodies of, like, the dead animatronics and, like, puts them in bags, sets them up by the front door. Even when he realizes he's locked in, he's like, well, shit, I'm locked in here. Well, back to work. And then all throughout the movie, he's, like, taking these breaks, which the owner of Willy's Wonderland, what was it, 𝗪𝗪𝗡𝗏𝗪 or something like that, told him, like, you need to take breaks every now and then. Which I saw as this whole, like, kind of nod again to Five Nights at Freddy's, even if the director has said that Five Nights at Freddy's was an influence. There's a lot of stuff in here that kind of points towards a Five Nights at Freddy's homage, even with Nick Cage not saying anything. Like, in the Five Nights at Freddy's games, I've never played them. Everything I know from Five Nights at Freddy's, I know from 𝗪𝗡𝗡, and I'm sure that goes for a lot of people on YouTube. But, yeah, in the Five Nights at Freddy's games, the players that we play as, we never talk. It's just kind of a POV perspective. So I like that aspect of Nick Cage's character because it kind of plays off the whole Five Nights at Freddy's vibe of main character that does not say anything and just kind of reacts to everything that's going on around him. And in those games, there are these little voiceover clips and like tapes from past workers that give us tips on what to do and how to survive the night, which I kind of liked from 𝗪𝗪𝗡𝗏𝗪 saying to the janitor Nick Cage, like, hey, pace yourself, make sure to take breaks. So that's what he does. He sets up his watch, and his watch goes off every now and then. He takes a break in the break room, he drinks some of his soda that he keeps in the fridge, and then at some point he ends up finding a pinball machine, and he cleans off this pinball machine, and he is in love with this pinball machine, and he starts playing it on his break time, which leads to a very awesome, like, dance moment with, like, a really cool song that plays over it about Willy's Wonderland. I might actually download it to put on my phone, because it kicks ass pretty good. So does Nick Cage. One of my favorite fight moments in this movie is when he fights the gorilla animatronic in the bathroom, and he ends up killing the animatronic by curb stomping him on a urinal, which I did not see coming. And I also like how they use the oil in the animatronics as blood. That's a very good visual. So yeah, later on in the film, and Nick Cage kills a couple animatronics. The teenagers show up. Lev's there to burn down Willy's Wonderland, and with the help of her friends. But then they know that Nick Cage is in there, so they go in to try and get him. And Nick Cage apparently doesn't want to leave. He is very focused on getting the job done and cleaning this place so he can get his car back. Even though I'm sure he has figured out by now he probably wasn't meant to survive and get his car back. Even when Lev tells him he's a human sacrifice, they led you here to die, he's still like, he just goes about his day. He goes about his night working and cleaning up Willy's Wonderland. And, you know, the teenagers end up getting killed off one by one. The dumbest moment that I remember these teenagers doing, and I didn't hate it, it was just so goofy, and, like, I threw my hands up, I was like, sure, why not? It was when Kaylee Cohen's character and Teriel Hill's character, Kathy and Bobby, they go off into, like, the happy fun time room or whatever to, like, ones and zeros, and they get killed by an animatronic. It's like, you know Willy's Wonderland's reputation. Why would you, one, split off from your friends? Two, why would you go into the same room where this satanic ritual happened, which is the whole story behind Willy's Wonderland. Willy's Wonderland was run by, like, some evil satanic people, and when the cops were about to find them and arrest them, they committed suicide and somehow got their souls into the animatronics, and then from there on out they were killing people as the animatronics. And then there was a big thing where, like, they were killing people in the town when Willy's Wonderland shut down because they wanted to kill people, and then the people of the town started to make a deal with them saying, like, don't kill our people in the town and we'll feed you some other way, which is how Nick Cage comes into the mix. They set Nick Cage up to be a human sacrifice for Willy and Willy's Wonderland's band of creepy-ass animatronics. So, yeah, that's the whole backstory that we get from Lev and her friends about what is going on at Willy's Wonderland. Yeah, I kind of like it. Like I said, it's another sort of like parallel to Five Nights at Freddy's with souls going into animatronics. That whole entire game series delves into that a hell of a lot. Yeah, so towards the end of the film, there's a really cool fight scene when it's Nick Cage versus, it's like a chameleon and a pixie, and he has his hands tied behind his back, and he kicks a jukebox, and it plays like a version of Head, Shoulders, Knees, and Toes, which I never thought would actually fit with a fight sequence. It barely works here, just because of how goofy it is. And he ends up killing the animatronics, at least one of them, because we see one come back later on. He ends up defeating them, and then the whole showdown goes to Willy. Willy's the last one left, and Liv got hauled away by like some police officers that came there. The police officers don't really do much in this film. They're also sort of like exposition-wise, and there for the body count. But what was the one woman's name? Beth Grant. She plays a lot of characters in a lot of different films, but she was the main police officer and kind of the one that told us the whole backstory of like how they made the deal with Willy. But yeah, they come when they realize like the sacrifice isn't working with Nick Cage, so they tie him up to make it easier for the animatronics to kill him, but he ends up defeating the animatronics and takes them out to the garbage, and like Beth Grant's sheriff character is like looking at him like, how the heck are you doing this? And so she walks back in and like holds a gun up to him and is like, you should have just died, boy, you should have just died. But I mean, it's Nick Cage, he ain't just gonna die. And she calls out to Willy to come and kill him, and then Willy comes out from behind her, slashes her in half, which if you slow it down you can see that it was a body double, kind of bad CG, but once again, I didn't really care. And then, yeah, we get into the final battle with Willy and Nick Cage. Willy wins the first round with a bunch of scratches and stuff like that. Nick Cage goes and replaces his shirt, which he does a lot in this film, another sort of repetition that he does, which makes me think that he might have ADHD or something like that, where he like has to have everything super specific, like his shirts need to be cleaned, he has to be on his brakes, you know, stuff like that. But yeah, Willy wins the first fight, throws him into a ball pit. Nick Cage retreats, and he grabs all the sodas, throws them in a bag, takes a stick, ties them together, and goes on to the final battle with Willy, ends up defeating Willy, pulling his head off, which was the first moment where I thought we were going to get to hear him speak, but we did not. And then the movie ends with, what was it, 𝗪𝗛𝗪𝗪𝗪 coming back with Nick Cage's car fully fixed, and thinking that he's just going to keep it for himself, but then Nick Cage comes out, the whole place is completely clean, he's done his job, he gets his keys back, and then we see in the dumpster, the pixie or the fairy animatronic is still alive. She kind of rips through the bag, and she picks up a lighter that's been thrown by the trash can from earlier, and Nick Cage goes to his car, he picks up Lev, they drive away, and they kind of have a good bonding moment. Nick Cage pops open another can of grape soda, and before he drinks it, he looks over at Lev and gives it to her, meaning they're going to have sort of like a Joel and Ellie from The Last of Us type of partnership, going on the road together, his surrogate daughter right there going to other places maybe, and then 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 and the mechanic end up dying because the fairy animatronic sneaks up behind the car with the lighter and I guess sticks it in the gas pipe in the back, and it blows up the car. Now, that animatronic seemed to have been blown back and blown into pieces, although, I don't know, I tried to slow down the footage as much as possible to look at it. It seemed like she might have survived. So if they do want to do a sequel, which I really hope they do, that is a way that they can go with it. Like, that animatronic survives, she grabs all the remains of the other animatronics that are just sitting there in the dumpster, and she sort of puts them all back together again in these sort of, like, nightmare sequences of, like, nightmare animatronics, sort of like from Five Nights at Freddy's games. And yeah, Nick Cage and Lev, I like how I'm just calling him Nick Cage. Nick Cage and Lev, they drive off, they run over, what was it, Mexican turtle or something like that, and he's now destroyed, and then we do like a whole parody of like the "That's all, folks" sort of ending sequence with Porky Pig, but instead it's Willy's Wonderland logo popping up, and the movie's over. and I thought it was a really fun film. Like I said, there was a lot of stuff in it. It's a very fun film if you don't take it too seriously. I am no movie expert, so I don't know, but I mean, on IMDb, the reviews say it's like a 5.6 out of 10, and then Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 65%, which, yeah, I would put it right there. Like I said, it's nothing too crazy groundbreaking. I think it does a pretty good job trying to get the point across. If you're looking for something as a Five Nights at Freddy's fan, like a movie, because I know there's supposed to be an official Five Nights at Freddy's movie coming out soon. If you're looking for something to hold you over until that movie comes out, this is a very good substitute for it. I will probably definitely be watching this over and over again just because of how goofy and weird and funny it is. Nick Cage, even without saying a single line of dialogue, is an awesome main character. Like I said, the teenage characters are whatever, but yeah, this movie was just very, very awesome. Love the animatronic designs. All of them look really cool. I like how the whole area of Willy's Wonderland is laid out, kind of. You got the hallways, you got all the rooms, you got the break room, you got the ball pit, you got the roof that they fall through into the ball pit, which somehow Nick Cage ends up fixing at one point. I don't know how that happens, but yeah, everything, all the design and stuff like that seems really, really cool, and it makes me want to buy one of those staff t-shirts. I've seen them on sale online somewhere. I definitely want to pick one up. So yeah, if you guys are interested in watching Willy's Wonderland, I'm sure you guys probably have if you're watching this review, considering I just spoiled everything for you. Sorry. But yeah, if you're looking for a fun movie to watch that has those Five Nights at Freddy's vibes, if you've ever wanted to see how Nick Cage can do great in a movie without saying a single line, definitely watch Willy's Wonderland. Let me know in the comment section below what do you guys think, and leave a thumbs up on the video. I don't plan on doing a lot of movie reviews, but if anything pops up that I think is really good and I enjoyed, I'll definitely do a review for it. Other than that, I'll see you guys later.